Do you have enough to drink?
How's that for an opening? Different, right? Some of you will get that, some of you won't, but either way. Welcome everyone back to the Road to 100 here in Code Vein, and today we are going to be going for an interesting adventuring build that has everything to do with focus, while at the same time having nothing to do with kind of our weapon. Our weapon is kind of along for the ride here. And as we get into our bossing build, which is very, 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 very different than this, has nothing to do with focus either. So everything about this adventure setup here is going to be about getting focused and maintaining and staying focused as long as physically possible here in Vein. Now, as you'll notice, Rage of Perkunas and Focus Recovery are crossed out, so we will have to remember that Focus Recovery will give us, it will grant us half of our focus bar when we are using it. So when we get to the halfway point, we use it, and then we should be a little bit good to go. Now we will be having Blood Sacrifice working kind of overtime here, and when we are focused, we get increased gift speed, we get stats up, we get Dark Impulse for a 30% increase to our dark value, and we get a 70% increase to our time being focused, which nets out time of 38 seconds. So very, very nice. And also, you'll notice that Rage of Perkunas needs an A willpower. Well, we don't have an A willpower until we get focused, and then it's kind of like gating us that when we get to that level that we actually have focus happening, we do actually get to use Rage of Perkunas for some big damage along the way. And since the cooldown here is 20 seconds, we will be able to use it about twice every single time we are focused, just because of the cooldown times. So now it is very, very important here that we use Merciless Reaper for as long as possible, and along the way here we will be going for some of these attacks and such, but along the way the most important thing is that we will be simply destroying everything that we come up against. Now we could switch out some of these for like lifesteal along the way, however this is not as important as what we are going for here in the damage department. And as you can see, we are perfectly capable of actually getting along here. Whoops, I missed the parry there. Okay, and let's see what she's gonna do. Now it would be nice if we indeed did get focused here, so we can see what's going to happen when we get focused. There we go. And so now we have access to Rage of Perkunas, and also death. But you can see there 13,000 damage is very, very, very high for one attack that we have access to. So if we can play this a little better to actually time out the points where we are getting focused along the way, it will net us out some incredible setups here that we will have available. So here, this is, whoops, okay, we missed the parry there, but that's okay. We'll just go for as much attacks here as possible to make sure that we have as much ichor as possible. Now the gun along the way here, you'll notice, is just kind of along for the ride, and there is nothing super intense here about having our thunderbolt being lightning or otherwise, and so it is simply to net us whoops, okay, it is simply to net us out some damage potential when we have the need to actually get damage along the way. So nothing super important as of right now, but it's just something that we have access to for now. Okay. And we'll go for hopefully a little bit of focus here if we can. But there's no guarantee. Okay. There we go. And then we can go for Rage of Bracunis, and we can get some big boy damage there. Now you'll notice that we did run out of a little bit of our business here along the way for our focus. So we will go ahead and get our focus back, which is awesome that we can do that. And you can see that Rage of Bracunis is available and ready. So we can go for that again. And you can see that we do have a focus gate coming again here. So we can go for that again, which is nice. And now our health is draining because Cleansing Light is over. So we do have to wait for Cleansing Light to come back. And now you can see that we do have access to Rage of Bracunis yet again. And we can use it here coming up against this fine specimen up here, and this will be the last time we can actually have access to Rage of Bracunis this focus period. So kind of unfortunate, but that is the way that the chips fall. Oh, we get it one more time, so we'll keep that in mind. Okay, and then this one, let's go ahead and heal. And heal. Okay. And this one. Good. And oh, Rage of Bracunis is over. So unfortunate there. As you can see, we do have some quickie good access to a bunch of damage here very, very quickly along the way. And it is very, very nice that we do indeed have the ability to destroy these enemies pretty quickly, pretty easily here along the way. However, the problem becomes with Rage of Bracunis that even though it is a massive, massive, massive damage increase, we are not as flexible with it just because of the gating mechanic that we need to get focused. But you can see that we can extend our focus period fairly long along the way here. Now this fella will just go for some backstabs here to help our healing business going on in the background here that we need to definitely take a notice of. Otherwise we are going to run out of health pretty quickly here. And where are the dogs? There are the dogs. Good. Okay. And then we can start to destroy this fella before he becomes too much of a problem. And we can go for focus here against these guys a little bit if we want to. However, it's in our best interest to simply net out the damage elsewhere as we go for these gunners here along the way. And we do have this fine specimen right here, which we will absolutely go for because she can help us. Whoops. I was going to say she can help us get focused, and she did by killing us. And unfortunately, she touched us just once, and that was the end of it. And we were right there at the ladder, right over there. So in order to ignore this set here, just to get back to where we were, we will just head on without dealing with these enemies, since it is kind of a no consequence, no never mind kind of display here of everything that we are going up against. There's no reason to actually fight anything along here until we get to the ladder. So we will just make sure that we are taking note of where the enemies are and what they are doing to make sure that we aren't encouraging any extra undue excitement here. Okay, and we are almost to the door. Oh, whoops. I forgot that she was going to follow with those blades, but it's simple, and we can simply just zoom back with lightning charge and get to the ladder portion. So you can see that this kind of gift only setup here is very, very, very effective, as well as having the ability to do pretty big damage overall without any real consequences of any kind, which is great. Okay, now gotta pay attention here. Okay, and then the ladder. Okay, and then we can just go ahead and rest up. Okay, so we got back to basically where we were, kind of cheating the ladder area there, and then for the rest of the area we will obviously play it normally. Now for the Queen's Knight Reborn, it's going to be a very lengthy fight, so strap in for that, and we'll explain kind of what's going on when we get there. Okay, Monkey Boy had to hit us, of course, because he's just that way. Okay, and we'll go ahead and load up on a bunch of Ichor here, and definitely go for the points where you can parry on these ladies, because they will destroy you ever so quickly with their damage output. So very, very important to kill them quickly along the way. And here we have Monkey Boy, and we can just get rid of him. So you can see the amount of damage that Merciless Reaper grants us access to is very, very, very considerable along the way. So very important to make use of that when possible. Okay, and this fine specimen here is going to encourage us to go for parries when possible. Okay, now we do have Rage of Perkunas active, so let's go for that here while we have access to it. Okay, and let's get enough Ichor here. Okay, and this lady. Oops, okay. Good. And then let's go ahead and heal and get our focus gauge back up and running and get some health. And now we do have access to Rage of Perkunas again, so very important that we get that going here. And you can see just how very important that is to have Rage of Perkunas active there at that point, so we can kill that enemy very, very, very quickly and simply. And let's go ahead and keep loading up here on Ichor as we go. Now Rage of Perkunas is active. Let's go for a gift accelerator and blam. Okay, very important there to take care of that enemy as well very, very quickly. So you can see that it does help to have kind of this focus point where you have access to some pretty decent damage just because of the gift being active. So very, very cool in that regard that you have kind of a limit break in a sense where you get focused and you enter this phase where you can prolong it for kind of about a 3 times duration, and it makes for a fun, different kind of way to go about engaging with the different mechanics. Okay, so now let's talk about blocking, as there are 2 different methods for blocking in the game here. You have your element blocking values, and you have your actual physical damage blocking values. Now if you pair those two, they are an intriguing value set when they are paired together. And so that means that if we are able to block all blood damage from this guy, we are able to block all of his damage. Even if we don't have 100 block on our weapon, if our blood block is above 160, then we will be able to block all of his attacks, except for some of his dashes and the different shield attacks and such. So we will be up over 160, and so we will be able to block all of his damage. But if we don't have 100 block, then we have to rely on blood, and if we don't have 160 blood, then we have to rely on our defense. So we will be parrying both guard booster and blood barrier tonic here along the way, and we will simply be blocking, recovering Ichor, and then we will be hitting him for some big damage with a steadfast strike along the way. Okay, so now we are perfect defense against this guy. 100 block, 160 blood block as well. Okay, let's take that hit so we can get some damage there. 1, 2. Okay, now we are out of 100% block on blood, but you'll notice that we still are active to take those hits just fine, because we do have access to 100. We have 100 block from the guard booster, and there we did not have 100 block because I got hit by the shield, which is very, very bad, and you can't block that attack. Okay, now we do need to go for a gift accelerator here. Now that is also one of the attacks that is very, very bad to get hit by. Okay, and you'll notice there we had a 100 block just because of what we are going for here. Ouch. And you'll notice that everything was over. We took a hit and we died instantly. So there is no time ever that if our gifts are off that we can ever survive any of his attacks. There is not one attack that we can survive that he does here at max difficulty with this Blood Veil. However, and which is why we have to have all of our gifts and everything going all at once here, because that is how we survive his engagements here along the way. So we'll go for this, and we'll go for a couple of things here, and we'll wait for some of the other business. Okay. Now you have to remember to always block or always defend. Whoops. Okay. Never mind. Hang on. You have to always dodge that second attack on the slam of his sword. Okay. Okay, we're focused, but that doesn't mean anything here, right? Okay, good. Now we do need to heal quite a bit, and let's go for another guard booster. And we'll just do some blocking here while we can. Ouch. Now we definitely took some super damage there because of elemental wall being over, so that's unfortunate. Now we will need our blood guard here, or blood barrier tonic. So let's get that going. And this stupid shield. Okay, and let's go for the charge attack here. Good. Whoops. I didn't have my guard up and elemental wall was over. So there are some periods there where we are able to actually have the timing available to us that can withstand his attack pattern. However, it is very, very, very tight. So a lot of these entire tactics here are, you kind of have to play perfectly, or if you don't play perfectly, you have to have a build that allows you to make mistakes. And this is kind of one of those build sets that allows you to make mistakes, because if you have to play all of this entire fight here without ever getting hit once of any kind, it can become exceptionally tough. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting thing for him to do there. Okay. And now we will have to pay attention to Elemental Wall here. Good. So you can see there that we took the hits, but it's completely fine because we were just simply getting attacked by nothing. So we can block all this. Okay, let's go for the charge attack for that extra 5% ice damage. Okay, now Elemental Wall is over, so we do have to pay attention to that. Okay, now you'll notice that we are kind of over with our abilities here. Okay, we'll block for some Ichor recovery there, and we'll get some stamina. Now Elemental Wall is over, so we do have to play a little bit well here. Okay. Okay, so we are out of Ichor, as you can see. But because we are able to block considerably here, we are able to... whoops. That was an oopsie. Okay, and now everything is over, so we do have to kill him because we ran out of our guard boosters and our blood barrier tonic. So it's a very different set. It's like, yeah, sure, you're invincible, so how could you lose? But it's all about Ichor management to know when to do a retaliatory strike from Steadfast Strike, while at the same time managing when you are keeping up Elemental Wall with the Blood Barrier Tonic with a guard booster all at the same time. So you're simply managing the spending of Ichor as you go along in the fight, and you're just keeping up your guard most of the time. So as you see here, and when we apply all four of these gifts and items, we are at 100 block, and we then are at 170 blood. So your blood defense from your veil transfers over to your sword. If you don't have the guard booster active, you can still block 100% of the blood damage that he's doing. So let's head over to the Zero District, and I'll show you exactly what that means with a machete. And we'll choose a different sword that doesn't have this block profile on it, and you can go for the Argent Wolf brand. As you see there, we have a little more defense, and we have some pretty good defenses here. However, we will go in and block an attack here, and you'll notice that we get we take damage to the sword value of 98. And then once our elemental damage defense is up over 160, we will block all of his damage from his weapon attacks along the way, even though our sword is not up over 100. Okay, so I'll show you here if he attacks. Okay. Okay, as you can see there, we blocked all damage because we are up over 160 elemental damage. Oops. But that also means that we don't have to block because we are invincible to the 160 blood damage value. Now, if we go for a guard booster, so if we pick another weapon like the Black Greatsword here or something, and we go for let's see, we go for the intensified, we can go for the, sure, we'll go for the Devour version. Now you'll see that it does have a 10 blood resist on the defense, which is great because this boy does all blood damage. So you'll notice that here we're at 93, 93, and 100, and our blood veil is not at 160. So now if we try blocking here, we block all damage incoming from the non-unblockable attacks, which is great. So you can see there. And if we get hit, we take damage as we normally would from the shield bash, because our blood veil is not above 160. So that's kind of the difference between how they pair with each other. So the blood veil values, they transfer to the weapon, but the weapon does not transfer to the blood veil. So if you're using something like Prismatic Veil, that will help you boost these values. However, it will not help with these values. But since these values transfer to the weapon itself, you can use like Elemental Wall and Prismatic Veil together, and that's you can do that with some different gifts stacking that you can do. So if you go for like Elemental Wall and Prismatic Veil, something like this, you'll notice that you're able to have now on your weapon, you have some pretty high elemental resistances, while at the same time having pretty high defenses here. So we're at 105 here, and we are at 55 here. Now let's go and check the ultimate question of how do they pair together. So if we are astute, we will notice whether or not we actually block all damage. So let's see here. We do indeed block all damage. So it is additive how the Elemental Wall and Prismatic Veil add together from the blood veil to the weapon, but not vice versa, not from the weapon to the blood veil. So a little bit of intriguing topics here to discuss about how you know, your blood veil and your weapon pair for blocking defenses based on enemy attack values. So on enemies where you know that there is a huge element value that you know of, like the bog predators do lightning damage, this guy does blood damage, so on and so forth, you can pair up these two based on the weapon that you are going for. And if you'll notice, like the DLC weapons, they have already ice defenses built in to their weapons already. And so you can look here that if you are using a weapon with a chrome on it, you get 50 added to that defense value, which means that you don't need to worry about the actual defense of the type of damage. You can go for the resistance of the element, and you can go for these two paired up together equally to do some blocking strategies that will help you recover Ichor and so on and so forth. So you can use like these two and guard drain rating up and so on and so forth with like a blood-sucking blades type of a setup. So that way you can get a huge amount of Ichor on block while at the same time having pretty good stamina reduction. So anyways, hopefully this clears up some of the understanding of Prismatic Veil as well as Elemental Wall with how that is matched with your Blood Veil and matched with your weapon element defenses as well. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully this was helpful and informative, and we'll see you guys next time in the Road to 100. Talk to you all later. Have a great day. Bye.